Good evening, everyone. So in this session, let's discuss about how to crack PayPal recruitment process. Fine. So first, let's discuss about the recruitment pattern of PayPal. The recruitment pattern of PayPal is 60 minutes of time where we'll be having two sections. One section will contain aptitude questions where we'll be having 20 questions, and the time for those 20 questions is 30 minutes of time. And the second section will be having something but coding, one question, 30 minutes. So this is the most uh, frequently used pattern by PayPal whenever they go for recruitment process. Then this has been changed slightly in one or two places. The changes what they have made is, out of this one question, sometimes they have asked three coding questions as well. Sometimes they have asked three coding questions as well. The time given for those questions is 1.5 hours. 1.5 years, but the platform is HackerRank. So they haven't changed the platform. Guys, is my screen visible to you? Yes, thanks guys. Okay, so first round they'll be having aptitude MCQs. The second, this is the pattern which they have followed most frequently. They'll have 20 aptitude questions and one coding question. So this is the most frequently used pattern by PayPal. But when the designation has been changed, when it is of pure development kind of stuffs, the pattern what they have followed is nothing but, in the first round you will be having aptitude along with coding when you go for MCQs. Okay, so when you go for technical MCQs of coding, you will be having questions from the same coding snippets, DBMS and networking extra for the PayPal company. Okay, and when you go for coding question, instead of one they have three coding questions. So this is for pure development. But most frequently this was a pattern followed by PayPal, but in few places I have seen this as the pattern also. Okay, this was happened in HackerRank platform. So both the patterns have been happened in the HackerRank platform only. The level of questions is a kind of, it's like a in between medium and difficult. When you go for coding, the difficulty level of these questions have been asked between medium and difficult. It is not very easy and not medium as well. It is between medium and difficult. This is the kind of difficulty they had when they go for their coding examination. Okay, I'll repeat the pattern. So most frequently they have used this pattern: 20 questions of aptitude, 30 minutes of time, and one coding question, 30 minutes. So this is the most frequently used pattern by PayPal. And in few places I have seen, along with that aptitude questions, you'll be having coding questions, questions from coding snippets, DBMS and networking. So you had questions from these three topics, and instead of one coding question, they have three coding questions. In few places, the time limit is 1.5 hours here and 30 minutes here. So this is the pattern followed by PayPal. Okay. Now let's go for the topics, whatever they have covered for aptitude. Fine. When you go for aptitude, you have three sections: quants, quantitative aptitude, logical reasoning, and verbal. You had three sections. You got out of 20 questions, the questions are from these three areas. Okay, so when I go for quantitative aptitude, the most frequently asked questions are from algebra, arithmetic expressions, like 2x plus 3y is equal to 50, and 3x plus 4y equal to 30. Find the value of x and y. So that kind of arithmetic expressions, geometry, percentages. So when we go for percentages, it covers simple interest and compound interest as well. Simple interest and compound interest as well. And probability. And next to probability, you had questions from time, speed, distance. So this is a major area which you have to focus. And when you go for another topic, we added something with profit and loss. So here the profit and loss deals with selling price, cost price, profit percent. So those kind of questions. So these are all the areas which you have to concentrate more on aptitude when you go for PayPal. When you go for logical reasoning, the questions are from data arrangements. Data arrangements is nothing but what to say? Five people are sitting in a circular manner. Person A is sitting nearby person B. That kind of questions, arranging the data. And next to which you have data interpretation. Next to data interpretation, we have data sufficiency, coding and decoding, linear arrangements, and odd man out. Okay, so these are all the topics they had it in logical reasoning. And when you go for verbal, most repeatedly asked was critical reasoning. Okay, and few times they have asked verbal reasoning as well. So critical reasoning and verbal reasoning. So these are all the topics which they have asked frequently in PayPal on their first round, which is nothing but what to say MCQ section. Okay, the next thing we have to discuss, which is nothing but coding part. So here, as usual, in coding part, we had questions from array-based questions. So I have seen this most frequently in PayPal. Array-based questions is not only of type integers and with strings as well. I have seen string-based questions in PayPal more frequently. I have seen string-based questions more frequently. Okay. Next one is nothing but backtracking. So when I say the word called backtracking, it is of pure recursion, right? So the kind of questions called Sudoku. Sorry, it's not P. Sudoku kind of problem. I have seen Sudoku question in PayPal recruitment process as well. Not in written examination, it was asked for a guy what is the logic to write in their technical interview. So they was asking a guy to solve Sudoku. They have taken a paper, the newspaper we have Sudoku, right? They have given that paper to him and they have asked, how will you write a program for this Sudoku? So that was one question which was asked in PayPal in face-to-face interview. Then dynamic programming. So when I go for product-based companies, dynamic programming plays a major role to reduce my time complexity. When I say the word called dynamic programming, it can be solved in two ways. One is top-down approach, and the next one is called as bottom-up approach. Top-down approach and bottom-up approach. So these are the two ways where I can solve most of my problems by using dynamic programming. Next one is nothing but greedy algorithm. And there are few questions which can be solved with the help of greedy algorithm. Questions from the topics of graphs. So questions from the topics called graphs. So most of the graph algorithms are from greedy topic. Fine. Yeah, of course, Mupanna, that is what I was dealing. So when you go for greedy, it comes under the concept of questions from graphs. Branching and bounding. What I can say, like I can say of questions of knapsack kind of stuff, branch and bound of traveling salesman problem, those kind of questions from branch and bound. And bitwise operators. And this is most important, guys. Why do we use bitwise operators? Any idea? And why should I learn the bitwise algorithms? Any idea about this? Yes, of course. It works faster than the arithmetic operators. When I go for arithmetic operators, compared to arithmetic operators, bitwise operators works much faster than the arithmetic operators. This is the reason why should I learn for bitwise operators for competitive coding. One best example, like I can say, like swapping two numbers is one example I can say. And what is it? I need to find the set bit of a number, set bit kind of questions. Okay, and complement kind of questions can be solved more efficiently with the help of bitwise operators. So these are all the topics which I have to cover for PayPal, and not only for PayPal, all the product companies, for all the product based companies. And one more thing, in short, I can say I need to be strong in data structures and algorithms. So why data structures? To store the data, algorithms to reduce the time complexity. Fine. This is most important. Is try to start practicing. See, in 1 or 2 days I cannot solve, but in a week I cannot be a master in data structure. Okay, there should be more practice to solve to crack all the product based companies. Okay, if you are into coding, try to solve the same question in multiple ways and try to know the time complexity. So this question, the approach we have solved has taken a time complexity of n square. Can you reduce the time complexity? Is there any other approach or any other method to solve this question with a less time complexity, or do I have to use any algorithm to reduce my time complexity. So try to interpret a single problem in multiple ways. Fine. And someone was asking me a question, sir, what should I do? Out of 10 test cases, I have passed only 5 test cases. How can I make my program to pass all the 10 cases? So there comes the picture of algorithms. So you should check the algorithm, or you should check the logic what you have used, and make sure and what is the time complexity of the particular algorithm which you have used, and think wisely whether any other algorithm can satisfy this particular problem, which helps me to reduce in less time compared with the algorithm which you have written. Try to compare with it. And if you, this is one way of rectifying. And what I suggest is, once after getting a question, okay, spend 5 minutes of time in reading the question. Spend 5 minutes of time in reading the question and to choose what approach or what algorithm should I go for to solve this particular problem. What algorithm or what approach should I go to solve this particular problem? The reason why am I saying this in the sense, some people, for example, if the question is, the time given for a particular question is half an hour, that is 30 minutes. What few people used to do, they'll spend 25 minutes of time to write the code, and they'll click compile button. And when they click compile button, out of 10 test cases, only 5 to 6 may get passed. The remaining 4 test cases will not be getting passed. And in this short duration of 5 minutes, is it possible for us to write the entire program by using another algorithm? Obviously no. Okay, so this is wastage of time. So what we'll think, okay, I have passed only 5 test cases, then we'll move on. So instead of doing it in this way, what I suggest, spend 5 minutes of time earlier in reading the question and to know which is the best approach or what is the best algorithm suitable for this particular question. Think that, get to know that first, and then start coding. So whenever you're getting a question, don't start coding blindly. Take a pen and paper, try to find the efficient approach, then start solving the questions. I hope this is clear for you guys. Now let's go for the frequently asked questions. Fine. Okay. The first question they have asked is nothing but pattern searching. What do you mean by pattern searching? In the sense, they have given a text. Let us say this is my text, BAA. This is my text, and they have given a pattern stating that my pattern is AAB. Now I need to find this pattern is, I need to know whether this pattern is present on the given text or not. I need to know whether this pattern is present on the given text or not. So if it is present on the given text, I need to know the starting index value. So here the index value of the text is 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So here the pattern which is present on the index value called 1. The pattern which is present on the index value called 1. In case if the pattern is not present on the text, I need to print my answer as -1. I need to print my answer as -1. And this can be solved in multiple approaches. And I need to reduce the time complexity just by saying many ways are there. But when I go for this normal approach, the time taken to solve this particular question is big O of n square. I can solve this question with the time complexity of big O of n square. But is there any other way to solve this to reduce the time complexity? Yes, of course. The time complexity I can solve with big O of 1. That is big O of n. With the help of big O of n, I can solve this particular problem. The next question is nothing but print concatenation of zigzag string. So I told you, right, when you go for PayPal, I have seen most of the questions are from strings. Okay, so zigzag pattern. What is my zigzag pattern? In the sense, I'll give my input value as PayPal. Okay, and they'll be giving me one integer value called 2. Okay, this has to be considered in the form of P A Y P A L. So 2, right? So it has to be considered in the form of 2. I need to concatenate the string from first row and second row. My output should be PYA APL. PYA APL. This is one more question which I have seen in PayPal. Is it clear, guys? Print concatenation of zigzag string. Is it clear for you? Yes. Now let's move for the next question. Permutation of a string in sorted order. What is the permutation of a string in sorted order? So the question I can say is, if I give my input value as ABC, okay, I need to get my output value as ABC, ACB, BAC, BCA, CAB, CBA. So I need to print the permutation. I need to print the permutation in the sorted order. I need to print the permutation in the sorted order. Okay, so this is the third question which you have asked. And make sure, guys, I need to print in the sorted order. There are few approaches which is available in the internet where it will not printed in the sorted order, where I'll be getting my answer as ABC, ACB, BAC, BCA. Instead of CAB, it will print like CBA and CAB. So this is how they'll be getting outputs. You will be thinking that I have got all the answers, but why my test case is not being passed? The reason why it is not being passed in this, it was not printing in the sorted order like this. It might be printing in this order. So there are few solutions available in internet like this way. So make sure that your program has to print it in the sorted order. You have to sort the given string in the form of sorted order. Make sure. Okay. And my next question, which is longest palindromic substring. Sorry, subsequence, not substring, subsequence. Longest palindromic subsequence. Okay. So for this, which is nothing but B B A B C B C A B. So they have given a string called like this. I need to find what is the longest palindromic subsequence. Can you give me what is the answer for this? And there is a difference between substring and subsequence. Yesterday I was mentioning you, right? Substring should be continuous, whereas the subsequence need not to be continuous. And can you give me the length of the longest palindromic subsequence? Can you give me the length of the longest palindromic subsequence? Guys, I'm getting many answers like 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Try to give the correct answer for this. Few people are giving correct. Oh, some people are giving wrong. And guys, I'll repeat, it is not substring, it is subsequence. It is not substring, it is subsequence. I'm not getting correct answers, guys. I'll give a minute time. Try to give me the correct answers. So the answer is 7. Yeah, the answer is 7. People those are given answer is 7. That's correct. So I'll tell you how the subsequence can be formed. I can take this B. I can take this A. I can take this B. I can take this C. I can take this B. I can take this A. I can take this B. See, check whether it's a palindrome or not. Yes, of course, this is a palindrome. So the length of the subsequence is 7. So the length of the longest palindromic subsequence, not substring. Okay, this is my answer. Now let's move on to the next question. Find the frequency of the most frequent substring in the string. So it's very simple. Find the frequency of Akansha. I'll tell you how to solve in Big O N. How to find the frequency of most frequent substring in that string. It is very simple. If I've given my input value as AB, 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 and AB. This is my string. In the given string, I need to find what is the most frequent substring first. What is the most frequent substring which is present in the given string? AB. AB is the most frequent substring that is present in the string. And what is the frequency of that? What is the frequency of the substring? Yes, it's 4. Correct, guys. So the answer is 4. I need to get my output value as 4. I'll repeat the question. Find the frequency of most frequent substring that is present in the given string. Okay. Cool, guys. Now let's go for the next question. Find the subsets of an array. Can anyone guess what is the answer for this? Can anyone guess the question? Find the subsets of an array. If I give me input value as 1, 2, 3, can anyone tell me what is the output for the given question? Can anyone tell me what will be the output for this? This is an array of size 3. I don't want the total number. I want all the subsets. Yes, guys. So it forms the combinations. Of course, that's correct. People have given the correct answer. 1, 1, 2, 1, 3, 2, 3, and 1, 2, 3. So these are all the combinations I can form. Is it clear? Did I miss any other combinations? I have missed, yes, 2 and 3. That is also a combination. 1, 1, 2, 1, 3, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 2, 3. So these are all the combinations that has to be printed my output in the form of 1, 1, 2, 1, 3, 1, 2, 3, 2, 2, 3, and 3. So these are all the combinations I need to get. So this is the question which was asked. Find the subsets of an array. And the last question which they have asked, minimum number of coins to the given amount. Yesterday I was discussing you the question, right? The minimum number of coins. The same question, but minimum number of coins required. So for this, if I have given my input value is 1, 2, 3 and the rupees is 5, what is the minimum number of coins that is required to form the amount 5? 2. What are the possibilities? The possibilities are 1, 1, 1, 1, 1. This is one possibility, and infinite supply of all the coins. Okay. And for next way, I can say it is 1, 1, 1. It's 3 plus 2. This is one more way I can say. And the next way I can say is 1, 1. Sorry. It should be 1, 1, and 3. Yes, of course. Next, any other way possible? 1, 2, 2. This is one more way possible. Any other way possible? 2 and 3. Yes, great, guys. 2, 3. Now, is there any other way possible? No, there is a way. No, there is no way. Out of these 5 ways, I don't have any other ways to form rupees 5. I don't have 1 rupee and 4 rupee. I have 1 rupee coin, 2 rupee coin, and 3 rupee coin. Jivita, I don't have 4 rupee coin with me. Yeah, Saranya, I've written 113. Okay, so now out of these 5 possible ways, which way has minimum number of coins? 2, 3. So answer is 2, 3. I can say the output is 2. The output is 2. So this is one possible way where I can solve the question. I hope this is clear for you guys. So these are the most frequently. Now, when I see all these questions, most of the questions are from strings only. Most of the questions are from strings. See, this is a string question. This is a string question. Permutation can be either string or integer. It doesn't matter, but kind of string. And long as palindromic subsequence, most frequent character in the given string, subsets of an array, it can be integer or string. This is pure integer value. Fine. So what you have to focus more on? You have to focus more on the string questions when you go for PayPal. I'm not saying that only you have to focus strings, but give more importance for strings when you go for PayPal company. Now let's go for the question. Write a program to find whether the given string is present in the text or not. If it is present, print the starting index value of the text, else print -1. Fine. I'll give you one sample input. This is a test. This is the given. Why do strings have more chances? Just by referring previous year question paper, they have asked more questions on strings. That is the reason why it is. I'm not saying that you should focus only on strings, and the question for paper will be only from strings. I'm not giving any words like that, guys. The reason why, and since just by referring the previous year paper, most of the questions are from strings. So in this case, the index value is from 0, 1, 2, 3. Space is also considers a character 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So the pattern test is present on the index value called 10. Okay, so my output is 10. And in case of more than one occurrence is also possible, I need to print. For example, this is a test for a test. If the text is like this, my output should be pattern found at the index value 10. Okay, then 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21. I need to get my output as pattern found at index 21. I need to get my output in this way. Okay, so this is the question, guys. Now can you tell me what are all the approaches can I go for this question? Pratik, of course you can apply. There is no restriction. Once if you are completing your degree, you can apply for the pattern. Not only for this company, you can apply for any company. Mohan Kumar, of course we have to use pattern matching algorithm, but which algorithm should be used to solve this question more efficiently? Sai Nitish, if you're using regex, what is the time complexity? Abhilash, if you're using KMP, what is the time complexity? And if you use naive, what is the time complexity? And hi sir, if you're using DP, what will be the time complexity? That is the important thing, right? We can use set. Jyotirmaya, if you use set, duplicates will be removed, right? Then how come I can find the pattern which is present in the given text? So when you are using brute force, that is linear algorithm, you have to go for linear algorithm, Chetan. What is the linear algorithm? What is the name of the linear algorithm? This is not longest common subsequence, guys. This is pattern matching, not longest common subsequence. Akansha, when you go for two loops, the time complexity is n square. If you're using two loops, use it wisely. Most of you are giving answer as KMP algorithm I should go for. Okay, KMP is also one way I can solve, but compared with KMP, Z algorithm is preferable because it is easier to implement. And I've got many answers. I guess this is the time to discuss the approaches, guess. Okay, so the approaches I can solve this thing, but by using naive algorithm. So what is mean by naive algorithm? Just by using two for loops. For example, let me take the shortest way of solving. So let me take the text as C D C D E F. Okay, I'll take C D C. Okay, this is not the perfect way. I'll say. I'll take one more example. to show you why naive approach is not preferable. CDC E CDF. Okay, I need to find CDC. I'll take it as E here. Okay, I'll change the question, still more efficient. I'll make it as CCCCCD. Okay, and CCD. This is the question. So when I use naive algorithm for this, let me tell you what is the approach to solve naive algorithm here. So I'll take this one first. I'll compare with the character. Both are equal. So what I'll be doing, I'll be iterating both the values, this value as well as this value. Now both are equal. So what will I do? I'll iterate this value and this value. Now check whether both the values are equal. No, not equal. If this is not equal, I'll start from the index value again here. And from here, I need to go back here to check whether CCD is present like this. I hope you are getting what I'm saying. Okay, here first character equal, second character equal, third character is not equal. If that is not equal, once again I have to go back to the second index to check whether CCC, if the input is like this, for example, if the input is like this. Okay, in this case, see the question very carefully. First character is not equal, second character is not equal, sorry, first character equal, second character equal, third character is not equal. If it is not equal, again I should go back to the second index value. Okay, and I should check whether is it the substring or not. See, D, yes, this is present. So I should go back, which is once again I'm moving backward. Again, I'm starting from this index value. So this is one of the major drawback in naive algorithm. This is one of the major drawback in naive algorithm, where the time complexity of this naive algorithm is big O of m into n. M into n is nothing but m is the length of the text and n is the length of the pattern. M is the length of the text or n is the length of the pattern. So I can say this is of n square kind of. Okay, this is not the efficient approach. Some people have given me the algorithm called Robin-Karp. Some people have given the algorithm called Robin-Karp to solve this particular question. So when I go for Robin-Karp algorithm, I hope you might have heard about three cases. One is nothing but best case, average case, and worst case. So the example which I have taken here is considered to be the worst case. The example which I have taken here considered to be the worst case. In case if the given string is like this, CCD, EFG, CCD. See, equal, equal, equal. I have got the substring. I have got the pattern which is present on the given string. This is the best case I can say. So I've got the answer directly. This is considered to be the best case. This is considered to be the worst case. So whenever you go for solving any of the problem, the time complexity has to be solved for the worst case scenario, not for the best case scenario. Okay. So when I go for Robin-Karp algorithm, the time complexity for best case and average case is big O of m plus n, which is linear amount of time. When I go for the worst case scenario, the time complexity for this piece of question will be big O of m into n. The time complexity is big O of m into n. This is the time complexity. Nischala, how to remember time complexity? Whenever you are learning algorithm, try to know what is the how are they analyzing the time complexity of those algorithm. When you go, for example, when you go for merge sort, learn merge sort and try to know how they are calculating the time complexity, or how are they analyzing the time complexity of particular algorithm. Knowing algorithm is alone not sufficient to solve competitive questions. Knowing how to solve the time, like knowing how the time complexity has been calculated is also important. Fine. So this is the reason why Robin-Karp algorithm is not preferable. There are two other approaches to solve this particular question, which is nothing but KMP and Z algorithm. Okay, both KMP and Z algorithm takes the time complexity of big O of m plus n. Takes the time complexity of big O of m plus 1, which is linear amount of time. Either you can use KMP algorithm to solve this piece of question, or you can use Z algorithm to solve this piece of question. Okay. But out of these two, which is preferable? If you ask, I will say Z algorithm is preferable. The reason why Z algorithm is preferable in the sense it is more easier to implement. It is more easier to implement. Okay, Z algorithm is most easier to implement. Okay, this is the, just you can Google KMP algorithm, you'll get the algorithm. Fine. Now let's try to discuss how to solve this question by using Z algorithm. Let us take an example. The string text to be C D C. Just give me a minute. And next one is D E F. This is my given. Mupanna, Rabin-Karp is not advisable to solve pattern matching. The reason why Rabin-Karp is not advisable in the sense, it takes the time complexity of m into n in worst case. So it's better to go with Z algorithm. So the text I can say is nothing but CDC. So this is the text which is given, and this is the pattern which I need to check whether it is present in the given text or not. Fine. Now let's go for how to solve this question. The first thing what I have to do in the sense, I have to concatenate these two strings. I have to concatenate pattern with the text with a special character in between these two to differentiate. Okay. These approaches can be applicable for any programming language. Again, I'll repeat, programming language is not a barrier at all to solve any of the problem solving question. You can solve these algorithms by using any programming language. Fine. What I have to do, I have to concatenate the pattern and the text with a special character in between. So what I'm going to do, pattern C D C dollar C D C D E and F. Fine. This is the concatenated string. This is a concatenated string. Let's take the index value of these things. 0, 1. This is my, let me take, this is the str array. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So first thing what I have to do, I have to concatenate the pattern with the text. I have to take one more array. Okay, where the value will be stored. The one more array I can take it as Z algorithm. Let me take Z array or something, a pattern match, like pattern search array. Okay, initially all the values will be given as 0. Initially all the values will be given as 0. Now I'll start comparing C with C, both are equal. So I'll say it is 1. Okay, next I'll go with the next character C and D. Check whether they both are equal. No, not equal. If both are not equal, what should I do? I should go for the next character. Now check whether C and C are equal. Yes, C and C are equal. Then if C and C are equal, I'll repeat again. If C and C are equal, I should move both the index value. This is the index value of I, and I'll say this is the index value of J. Okay. If both the characters str of I and str of J are equal, increment I as well as J. Increment I as well as J. Okay. If both are not equal, just increment the I value alone. I mean J value alone. Okay. Depends upon your choice. Depends upon the naming of the variable. So first C and D are not equal. So I have just to move the J value alone. I have just moved the J value alone. Okay. Now comparing str of I with str of J, both are equal. If both are equal, what should do? I have to move I value from here to here and J value from here to here. I have to move my I value and I have to move the J value. Now check where both are equal. Str of I is D, str of J is dollar. Both are equal? No, not equal. If both are not equal, what should I do in the sense? I should store the value 1 in this index. I should store the value 1 in this index. I should store the value 1 in this index. Now again what I have to do, this has to be moved back to this place, and I have to check whether C and dollar are equal. No, C and dollar are not equal. C and dollar are not equal. I'll repeat once again from the beginning. Some people are asking us to repeat, so let's repeat so that they can understand the logic. Initially I'll start here, I, and J I'll start from here. So we Tumalapalli Nagadeepak, you need to know how to calculate the time complexities. Directly you cannot know, because this is n square, this is n log n. Directly we cannot know how to find time complexity. You need to know time complexities. I suggest you to learn Master's theorem, which helps you to learn the time complexities. Fine. Here first what I'm going to do, I'm going to compare this character with this character. Check whether both are equal, not equal. If both are not equal, str of I not equal to str of j. So just increment my j value. So I'll go to next character. Now check str of I, str of j, both are equal. Yes, both are equal. If both are equal, what should I do? I have to increment I value and j value. So this will be moved to this place, and this will be moved to this place. Now check d and dollar. Check whether both are equal. No, not equal. If not equal, if both are not equal, make this value as 1. Make this value as 1, and then this should be moved back to this place, and I need to check whether both are equal, not equal. If it is not equal, go for the next j value and compare C and C are equal. Yes, C and C are equal. If C and C are equal, what should I do? I have to increment my I value as well as my j value. I have to increment my I value as well as my j value. Check whether str of I and str of j are equal. Yes, both are equal. If both are equal, what should I do? I have to increment I as well as j. I have to compare both these characters. Yes, these both are equal. If these both are equal, what should I do? I have to move for the next value, this as well as this. Now compare this str of I and str of j. Check whether these two are equal. No, these two are not equal. If these two values are not equal, now how many characters are equal? 1, 2, 3. So far 3 characters are equal. So far 3 characters are equal. If 3 characters are equal, I should update this index value as 3. I should update this index value as 3. Now, instead of going back and checking here, what will I do in the sense? Instead of going back and checking here, what will I do in the sense? I'll take this index value. I'll take this index value 5, and I'll compare it with the value which is present on that index. See, I'll take this index value. I'll compare it with the value which is present on this index, 5 and 0. Check whether both are 5 plus 0. 5 plus 0 is 5, and check whether that value 5 lies between these index values. This is what called as Z array, the array which we formed. See, C and C are equal, D and D are equal, C and C are equal. Actually, there are 3 characters are equal. If 3 characters are equal, what should I do in the sense? I should know I have formed a Z array. Once after forming the Z array, what I need to do in the sense, I have to update the value called 3 here. After updating the value 3, I'm going to go for this index value, which is 5, and that 5, this is the second character over here. Then I should go for the second index value from the beginning, and I should add with the value which is present on that index. 0 plus 5, the value is 5, and check whether the value 5 lies between these index value. Yes, of course, this is lying between these index values. If it is lying between this index value, I have to take this value and I can upload it directly without comparing. Here I'm reducing the number of comparisons. Then I'll go for this place. Okay, see, I'll repeat, guys. C, D, C, both, all the 3 characters are equal. If all the 3 characters are equal, what should I do in the sense? Okay, instead of comparing, now I'll be in that C index value I've updated as 3. Now I need to update this index value. So here what I have to do, I have to take the index value of the particular character 5, and that should be added with the value which is present in this array, 0. 0 plus 5, 5. The value 5 lies between 4 to 6, this index value. Yes, of course, the value lies between 4 to 6. So that is the case. What will I do? I'll take this value and I'll update in this particular index. Instead of comparing, directly I'll update in this place. Now go for the next character, this one called C. Okay, the index value is 6. Check the value which is present on the third character, which is 1. 6 plus 1, what is the value? 7. Now check whether 7 lies between these index values. No, 7 is not lying between these index values. So what should I do in the sense? I should start comparing with the first character. If adding this value with this value is not lying between these index values, if it is not lying between these index values, what I have to do in the sense, I have to start comparing it with my first character. When I go for this character D, 5 plus D is the second character, I'll go for the second index value called 0. 5 plus 0, which is 5, the value 5 lying between 4 to 6. So I'll take this value directly and I'll update it here. But when I go for the next character called C, this is on the index value called 6. This is the third character. So go for the third character's index value, which is 1, added with that particular index value, 6 plus 1, which is 7. Check whether the value 7 lying between this index value. No, 7 is not lying between this index value. So if that is the case, what should I do in the sense? I should start comparing it with the first character. Okay, I should start comparing it with the first character. C and C, both are equal. If both are equal, what should I do? I should go for the next character, D. Both are equal. If both are equal, what should I do? I have to go for the next character, C. Both are not equal. So for how many characters are equal? 2 characters are equal. So I should update this value as 2. So I should update this value as 2. Now this forms a Z array. Now this forms a Z array. Here what I am going to do, instead of comparing, to update this value, instead of comparing, this is the second character, right? So I'll go for the second character index value, which is 0. 7 plus 0, which is 7 only, which lies between this index value. So I'll update this value over here. I'll update this value over here. Now E is compared with the first character, both are not equal. Next F is compared with the first character, both are not equal. I'll come out of the looping statement. So this is the logic of Z array. I'll repeat once again. Okay, I'll repeat once again. Few people have understood in half and few didn't understand. I'll repeat once again, guys. The question which I've given is C, D, C, D, E, F, and the next pattern is C, D, C. First thing what I have to do, I have to concatenate two strings, which is C, D, C, dollar, C, D, C, D, E, F. Okay. Initially all the values will be given as 0. Initially all the values will be given as 0. I'll take the values 0, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. Okay. First thing what I have to do, I have to compare this character with this character. Check whether both are equal, not equal. So the value will be 0. Now I'll take C and C. Both are equal. If both are equal, what should I do? I told you that str of A equal to str of J. If both are equal, I have to check I value and increment I value and J value. Compare D and dollar. Check D and dollar are equal? No, not equal. If that is not equal, so far only one character are being equal, I'll update this value with 1. I'll update this value with 1. Hope it is clear so far. Now I'll move to this place. Now I'll move to this place. Compare with the first character. C and dollar are equal, not equal. So I'll move next J value. This is I and this is J. Now check C and C both are equal. Yes, C and C are equal. If C and C are equal, what I have to do? I have to increment this value and I have to increment this value. Now compare D and D, both are equal. If both are equal, I have to increment this value and I can increment this value. Now compare C and C, both are equal. If both are equal, I can increment this, I can increment this. Now compare whether these three are equal, dollar and D, these two characters are not equal. If these two characters are not equal, what should I do? So far 3 characters are equal, which means on the index value 4, I'll update the value with 3. On the index value 4, I'll update the value as 3. Remember guys, next to what I'm going to do, I'm not going to compare for D. I'm not going to compare for D. Instead of comparing, okay, what I'm going to do in the sense, for the second character, I am going to take the index value. What is the index value in this array? 0. 0 will be added with 5. 0 plus 5, 5. check whether the value 5 lies between these three characters index value. Yes, of course. 4, 5, 6. The value 5 is lying between these three characters index value. If it is lying between these three characters index value, what I can do, instead of comparing it, I can directly take the value of second character, I can update it here. This is how I can reduce the number of comparisons. This is how I can reduce the number of comparisons. The next thing what I have to do, I'll go for the character called C. Okay, this is the third character. So I'll take the value from the third character, which is 1. 1 plus index value, which is 7. Now check 7. 7 is lying between these three character index value? No. 7 is not lying between these three characters index value. If it is not been present on that index value, I should start comparing with the first character. I should start comparing it with the first character. Check C and C are equal? Yes, C and C are equal. If C and C are equal, what I can do? I can move to the next character. So next character is D. D and D both are equal. So far two characters are equal. Now compare it with the next character C and E. Both are not equal. If both are not equal, so far two characters are equal. So I can update this value as 2. I can update this value as 2. So far there are two characters are equal. So far there are two characters are equal. Now what I have to do? Instead of comparing for D, what will I do in the sense? I'll take the value from, this is the second character, right? This is the second character. So I'll take the value from this index value 2. I'll add it with this index value 7 plus 0, which is 7. 7 plus 0, which is 7. So now check whether 7 lies between these two character index value. Yes, of course, 7 is lying between these two character index value. So I can take this value, I can update it over here. Okay, the main purpose of Z algorithm, is to reduce the number of comparisons. That is how I can reduce the time complexity. Here I am reducing the time comparison. Okay, next I'll go for D. D and C, check whether both are equal, not equal. Next to go for F. F and C both are not equal. So I'll update it here. So far I have the array values called 0, 0, 1, 0, 3, 0, 2, 0, 0 and 0. Okay, so I've got the array value. Now I need to know on which index value it has been present. In the sense, what I can do in the sense, I can take one for loop, I can iterate this loop. Okay, whenever the value is matching to the size of the pattern. What is the size of the pattern? The size of the pattern is 3. Okay, whenever the value is matching the size of the pattern, take that particular index value, which is 4. Take that particular index value. So here when I start iterating from here, 0 is not equal to 3, 0 not equal to 3, 1 not equal to 3, 0 not equal to 3, 3 is equal to 3. If this is equal, take that index value, the index value which is 4. The index value which is 4 minus 4 minus, next to what I have to do in the sense, 4 minus, after which I have to subtract it with the size of the pattern. Size of pattern. What is the size of pattern? 4 minus 3, which is 1. Subtract it with 1 here. Subtract it with 1. My answer I'll be getting it as 0. So the pattern is present on the index value called 0. CDC. The pattern is present on the index value called 0. So the final step, what I have to do? I can iterate this loop. After iterating this loop, what I have to do in the sense, I have to go for this index value 4, subtract it with the size of the pattern and give -1 to that value. You will get the index value where the character is present. For example, if you are getting 2 times the size of the string, for example, I'm saying in this case it is not matching. For example, if again 3 is present over here, so what I have to do? I have to take this index value 6, subtract it with the size of the pattern, and -1 will give me the index value. So this is how I can find the character pattern matching algorithm. So guys, if you are not able to get this logic, I suggest you to learn Z algorithm, and whenever the question is being asked of pattern matching, I kindly advise everyone to solve it by using Z algorithm when compared with other algorithm, because it takes less time complexity. Okay, Next, as usual, when you go for the approaches, you have to remember, plan the code before. You need to make it as an error-free code. Naming the variables is most important thing, and try